Hello everybody, it's Pastor Game Master again. So, I'm here to make a video that I think everybody has to make at one point or another in their tabletop YouTube career, but it's making villains, right? I don't think I'm going to be saying too much that's new except for my approach on how to make villains and NPCs in general. First thing that you have to remember is that they're all people, right? Heroes, villains, NPCs, they all start with people. So, what makes a person a villain? Right? I've broken it down. I'm not sure how well you can see it here, but I will have a little overlay and it should pop up somewhere around here. And you can pause and kind of see what's all on this chart. Um, this is the chart that I use for Mythic and how we're doing it for the Oracle system. But for right now, we're just doing it tabletop. And I do have lovely blacklight roll tray. This fan roll blacklight that's not sponsored or anything, by the way, but this fan roll dice tray, really wonderful with the blacklights. Didn't think it would be as powerful as it is. Thought a lot of their photos were edited, and they are kind of, but it's actually pretty good. So, first thing starting off is a core wound, right? If someone's gonna be a villain, what broke them? I've talked to a lot of people that have done some pretty seriously bad things, and I've done some pretty terrible things, and everybody around me has done some pretty terrible things at one point or another. So, being a villain always comes from this evolution of brokenness, right? From one degree to another. And that doesn't mean if you're a little bit broken, you're immediately Jeffrey Dahmer or anything. Like, no. But we have to understand that all of this to build a backstory for a villain comes from a core wound. So let's roll that one off first, right? I have a nice d20 table. So we actually got a 17. Pretty good. So, and that's, yeah, that lovely black light. That shows up really well on camera, too. I love it. So 17 is forced to hurt someone they loved. That's pretty intense, but forced to do so. All right. So desire. What is it that they want right now? And that's going to be a 3. So they want recognition. And this one is actually a glow in the dark. So when it gets charged up by the black light, even just for a little bit, it does glow pretty decently well. So they want recognition. Odd one for that kind of beginning. Pressure, right? Why can't they stop on the road for recognition, right? The first to hurt someone that they love, and they're doing it for recognition, or now they're on a path to recognition. I love that it automatically times out. If you forget about it, kind of bad for if you're making a video. That's a 5. That is a 5. Sometimes the black light numbers are hard to see on the glow in the dark dice, but that's okay. It still looks pretty cool, I think. I'm not sure how well the numbers show up on camera. I'll add some nice B-roll shots or something. Maybe more professional than just doing it this way. Who knows? But okay, so that was a 5. So their pressure is debt. Ooh. All right. So in someone's debt or in something's debt, we're not quite sure where that could go. Depending on your world, it could go anywhere. And that's what I like about the tables that I use and the kind of pressure system that I use is it could apply to anybody, right? Debt could mean so many things in any world. All right, so forced to hurt someone they love for recognition, and the recognition is because that's the only way that they can get rid of their debt, right? They need the recognition because they got to go, hey, I did this for you. You got to take it off my debt. Method of getting recognition and erasing the debt. That is a 4. Lovely 4. 4 on the number 4. That's awesome. Charisma. Okay. So more of a gentleman kind of killer con man. Or hurt. I mean, it doesn't say that they killed anybody. It just says hurt someone. So that could just be running a long con. They could just be kind of a white-collar criminal villain. But their role is now going to solidify very down here at the end, this nice red box. Again, I'm going to put the overlay because my camera setup doesn't really allow a whole lot of left and right. Probably should have set up my shot a little bit better, but hey, you work with what you got. When you have a TV and your gaming table, that's what you work with. So, role is 6. So, that would be a crime lord. Okay, a very charismatic crime lord who hurt the person, I'm going to say people that they love. They abandoned their entire family. So that's now a whole backstory, right? This crime lord and what we have. And I love that we can turn that off with the battery pack, or we can turn it off with a button kind of side thing. I know, I get distracted easily, but that's what we love, right? Um, so, all this together, how do you play it? An NPC is a crime lord. Maybe it's going to be somebody that they meet that's an adversary in one of the towns or cities. This starts developing things. If you start setting up a couple of key NPCs that you know you want the party to run into, it helps you set up the paradigm for the setting of where, right? If you have a shopkeeper that you're going to go, you know what, this NPC is actually going to try to betray somebody, or he's going to be a little bit, useful later on. If you want to make those key story like hooks, that go right back into what you were talking about, or hook right back into the story, then these are perfect. That's what I do. Is I don't plan out everything. I plan out a couple of key NPCs, and I plan out a couple of something like this where you have a pre-setup, and then you're able to run it, right? So now, what does this town have? This town has a corrupt official, and we have the crime lord that we made together, right? So maybe the corrupt official is in it with the crime lord, right? Maybe the crime lord is actually in debt to the corrupt official. Oh, that's a much better story, right? So we know that we want the players to encounter these people. So we have to have a crime den. We have to have an official's office, or if you want to be a lord and not an official, then it needs to be a keep or a castle, right? So this starts building where you are taking your players, more so than anything else. Because if it was a shopkeep, then you need that kind of shop. If it's a baker, you need a bakery. If it's a blacksmith, you need a blacksmith, right? And if it's, someone that's maybe magical, then maybe put them in a very non-magical city. I've seen a lot of odd paradigms where you mix and match. I've played a few odd paradigms where you mix and match, but this was kind of how I decided I liked building villains and NPCs in general, because you can see how it just starts coming together a little bit better narratively. Then you can go through and add, okay, if this person did this, then they're good at this, right? It starts building their skills. Maybe, if you want to put a couple legendary actions for a higher level thing, then go through and make them custom, make them catered to this person, their backstory, who they are. And really quickly, with 2d20s, we can go through, right? 1 and 2, just first ones that I pick up. So that's going to be 12, because it can't be a 21. So 12 is magic ruin their life. 7 is going to be knowledge, right? Is their desire. And of course, my screen timed out. Okay, I can't find my wireless mouse, so I had to just kind of run around there. But knowledge is what they're after, right? So that was magic ruin their life because they were after knowledge. And then 7, war is approaching, is their pressure, so maybe they get called off to it. And then 8, so that's technology. So war and technology. Their role is a 12 again. So spy master. So they're a wartime spy master. Maybe they were a wartime spy master, right? And they use technology to get what they want. They use it to win the war, and now they go through and use it in day-to-day life to either overpower or gain knowledge that's forbidden, right? That's kind of where we have it. And magic ruined their life, so they rely on technology, right? It all kind of plays however you want it to into building it. But remember that villains are people first. And a villain's a person first sometimes can go back to being a person, right? Sometimes their desire is redemption, a legacy, a belonging, stability. If these people were to actually get what they wanted, a little bit of that love or purpose, if they were shown that there were other ways to get it. They wouldn't have to be a villain. And that's what I love about it, because villains in reality are people that just took it too far. Way too far in a lot of cases, but most cases, they just took it too far. So this is how the average person can take it too far. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. Go ahead and feel free to use this chart and check us out with Mythic. That's MYTHIQ. And on Facebook, that's MYTH-IQ. Just base it out. It wasn't happy with putting it together for whatever reason, even though nobody else had it. Hope you'll have a great day, and I'll see you in the next session.